A few summers ago, I ended up dizzy and cramping halfway through a day of garden work, and it scared me enough to figure out why. Turns out it wasn't water I was missing, it was electrolytes. Since then, I've built a handful of drinks into my actual daily routine, not a list I read once and forgot. So instead of just rattling off recipes, let me walk you through an actual day here, and where each one fits, because timing matters just as much as the ingredients. Mornings here start before the heat does. Before I head out to the garden, I drink a warm ginger tonic. Fresh ginger simmered for 10 minutes, a spoon of honey, a pinch of sea salt, and lemon. It's not flashy, but the salt gets ahead of what I'm about to sweat out, and the ginger settles my stomach if I skip breakfast, which I usually do. If you've ever felt slightly nauseous starting a hot day, this is the one to try first. It works with your stomach instead of against it. Some mornings, if I know it's going to be a heavy labor day, I'll follow the tonic with a banana milk, one ripe banana blended with a cup of milk, a pinch of salt, and a dash of cinnamon. Bananas bring potassium, milk brings calcium and sodium, and together they act almost like a slow-release battery for the first few hours of work. Quick detour, because this matters. Electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, carry the electrical signals that make your muscles contract and your nerves fire. When you sweat, you're not just losing water, you're losing these minerals too. Drink plain water without replacing them, and you actually dilute what's left in your blood, which is why chugging water alone can sometimes make cramping worse, not better. That's the whole reason these drinks pair water with real food sources of sodium and potassium instead of just hydrating you thin. By 10 o'clock, I'm sweating for real, and this is where most people just chug plain water, which, like I said, can make things worse. So I keep a jar of cucumber mint water on the porch rail. Cucumber slices, fresh mint, a pinch of salt, steeped for an hour. It's subtle enough to drink constantly without getting sick of it. If you're the type who forgets to drink water because plain water is boring, infusing it like this solves that problem without you even noticing you're doing it. On the hottest mornings, I swap in coconut water with lime instead. It's naturally higher in potassium and sodium than the cucumber water, so on days I know I'll be sweating heavily by 10, I start here instead of working up to it. Around noon, if I've been kneeling or bending for hours, my calves start twitching. That's a potassium warning sign. This is where watermelon sea salt cooler comes in. Blend watermelon with a pinch of salt and lime. Watermelon is over 90% water and loaded with potassium, and the salt actually lets your body hold onto that water instead of running straight through you. If your legs cramp midday no matter how much water you drink, this is usually the missing piece. It's the salt, not the volume. On days I'm out of watermelon, I'll blend ripe tomatoes with a pinch of salt and black pepper instead. Tomatoes carry a similar potassium punch, and the savory flavor is honestly a nice break from all the sweet fruit drinks by this point in the day. Here's something worth mentioning. A lot of people reach for bottled sports drinks at this point in the day, thinking more sugar means more energy. But most of those drinks are mostly sugar and food dye with very little actual sodium or potassium. You end up with a sugar spike, then a crash an hour later, which feels like exhaustion, so people drink another one. It becomes a loop. Whole food electrolyte drinks don't spike you the same way because the sugar comes bundled with fiber and real minerals instead of syrup alone. Early afternoon is when the actual exhaustion hits. Not thirst, just depletion. That's when I go for warm bone broth with lemon. It sounds like a strange midday drink, but broth is naturally loaded with sodium, potassium, and magnesium from the bones themselves. A warm cup with lemon resets me faster than anything cold does. If you've ever felt tired, not just thirsty, this is the one worth trying before you reach for caffeine. The last stretch of work is when I need something with actual staying power, not just a quick sip. Avocado lime smoothie. Half an avocado, water, lime juice, a pinch of salt. It's the one drink on this list that's more food than beverage, and that's the point. It sustains me instead of just topping me off for 20 minutes. If your energy crashes hard in the late afternoon, something with fat and potassium together tends to hold you longer than juice alone. By evening, it's not about hydration anymore, it's about recovery. Warm milk with turmeric, black pepper, and a pinch of salt. The calcium and sodium in the milk help muscles relax, and the turmeric handles some of the low-grade inflammation from a full day of physical work. If you lie down at night, and your legs are still buzzing from the day, this is usually what I reach for before bed instead of anything cold. On especially rough days, I'll add a splash of apple cider vinegar to warm water with honey and salt instead. It's an old Homestead habit, and there's something to it, because that mix has been used for generations to settle the body down after hard labor. None of these are complicated, and that's really the whole point. You don't need a powder packet or a bottle with a barcode. Your body is telling you exactly what it needs at each part of the day, if you pay attention to it. Nausea in the morning, cramping at noon, exhaustion in the afternoon, restlessness at night. Match the drink to the moment, not the other way around. If this was helpful, subscribe. I'll be sharing more of what actually works here on the Homestead, not just what sounds good on paper. See you next time.